I am making one of the final videos to this. I'm making one of the final videos to this account. Um, it's not really helping. I'm glad I helped a few people with the jeans issues, with those fake pants, that scam that was out there. I'm glad that I helped some people. But sadly, no criminal charges were filed. They were never prosecuted. I've never been contacted by anybody, even though I put all of that out there.
Yeah.
And the latest situation from our experience shows that no criminal charges will be filed for us about anything. I sold my car 2 years ago, and I wrote out the title to the name on the check, which is required by state statute. You don't just write it out to anybody. You write it out exactly to the person who's purchasing the vehicle. But the junkyard that took it in Flint, apparently they gave it to somebody else or sold it to somebody else, who in turn they claim either parted it out or crushed it. The same person I talked to at IAA Flint gave me two different stories. One point it was parted out, another point it was crushed. I mean, I guess it could be both, but then why change the story? But they never updated the title. They just kept doing a chain, which you can't do in the state of Michigan. You can't jump title like that. It's illegal. They did anyway. And to get out of it, I confronted them on the phone, and they said, "Oh, well, you wrote the check, or you wrote the title out to Clunker Junker," which I can't write the title out to Clunker Junker because IAA, what is it, Illinois Auto Auction or something? IAA, anyway. They're the ones that wrote me the check, and I was instructed by them if there was any errors or the check was written out to the truck, to the agency that picked it up, that they would not take the vehicle and they would not release the check. I followed their instructions. So apparently what this Clunker Junker did was, this company out of Flint, they said because of the way the title was written, they couldn't, even though they're a contractor with IAA, they're saying they couldn't take possession of it, so they had to abandon a vehicle. You can't abandon a vehicle in the state of Michigan without two things. One, a police report. Two, reporting to the Secretary of State that it's an abandoned vehicle. Then there's a process. They're lying. Because junk titling in the state of Michigan is a crime. I did my part. I kept a copy of the sale for 18 months. That's what state statute requires. So I'm blameless in this. But what it does in the end is it keeps a junk car that disappeared, whether it was parted out or crushed, it doesn't matter. It's not being driven, obviously, unless somebody changed the VIN, which is also illegal. It's still under my name, so we can't get help for vehicle. We've been denied. That's one of the main reasons, other than, the worker and the hearing coordinator in Saginaw trying to find anything they can to deny it. The worker said one thing, oh, he doesn't make enough money. Well, the hearing coordinator, even though that's not their job, she purposely added more to it. In addition to searching my Secretary of State record without my permission, I never gave a waiver for that. She did it anyway. I mean, I'm glad in the end now I know this vehicle is still titled to me. But in Bridgeport, this is where I last lived, so this is where I had to do all of this stuff. I went to the Dixie Secretary of State, and the African-American manager, or what she claimed she was the manager, nobody backed her up, said that she can't release the title to me because I have shown her proof the vehicle was sold. I said, well, if you see proof it's sold, the cancel check, why don't you give me a copy of the title and I'll write out to junk? She said, no, I can't do that. So it's still sitting under me as the official owner of this vehicle. Once again, people could do anything they want to us. So I called the police to report a crime, just like I reported the the case when not all African Americans are bad. I want to be clear about that. I spent a significant portion of my undergraduate career trying to learn about the African American experience because they're my countrymen too. Just like I spent a significant amount of time trying to learn about the Native American experience because they're my people too. Now, that being said, a couple of people made up a long story that we were stalking them because I had the police on the line because they're following us, filming us, harassing my daughter. Well, they have a friend in the Buena Vista Police Department. This is when we lived there. They said that we were following them and we were yelling racial epithet, which is a lie. It's a lie. I asked, where's the evidence of this? There's nothing. And also involved in this, at least one or two people that made this report, they spent time in jail. Actually, one of them is still in some kind of parole or probation program. She goes to the jail all the time. I think it's she, could be a he. I don't know. I've never been close enough up to him or her. To see, get in somebody's face. Because in Saginaw, sometimes you do not know. There's a lot of sex offenders that run around here dressed as women so they can, try to get away with stuff and reoffend or just avoid detection. Oh, hey, you're a registered sex offender. I see that ID. No, that's not me. That's not me. Maybe the same name or something, like that. But we've encountered all of this. That's why some of the hospitals and medical clinics, they don't ID. Now this, I'll keep fighting this, do the right thing, but my kids shouldn't have to deal with this, especially my youngest who is here in the States. Somebody keeps hacking and interfering the communication with my oldest. So now she has a mediator who demands to control contact. And I believe someday they may try to traffic my daughter. They've already started. This is what traffickers do. They forcefully, just like a rapist, many of them are, force themselves into a family's life to just wedge themselves in, and then they take over control. A lot of human traffickers are rapists, women and men. The human traffickers I encountered in the U.S. are very different. The ones that I've seen in the Middle East. Middle East, it could be a husband or a wife. Generally Arab, because if you're non-Arab, it's harder to get a permanent visa. They will traffic people. You go to the Philippines or Vietnam or even Hong Kong, you'll see the traffickers many times are very, very aggressive, very manly, very man-hating women, and they will rape the girls. And then I've also encountered gay men. This is the only time I've seen this in Southeast Asia. Gay men that are traffickers. So you can't judge a book by its cover. You should always open it up and read it. That being said, we've encountered some very bad people here. This is another example of people targeting us, but the crime is not reported. The police officer who refused to show me his ID, he refused to even get out his MCOLAS card. How can you be a police officer on duty and not have ID? I left it at home. Whatever. This ain't grade school. This cop needs to grow up and be a good cop. This ain't grade school. It ain't junior high. And he's saying he's trying to help me, but he keeps saying the same thing 3 or 4 different times, which is basically, oh, there's no crime to report here. It didn't happen here. The fruits of the crime are not the beginning of the crime. When these guys in another township in another county assume possession of the vehicles by handing it off to each other, that's the fruits of the crime. The fruits of the crime are not the initiation of the crime. Obviously, this police officer is not educated in criminal justice. So he refused to take a report. And he said, "Oh, I'll talk to the prosecutor." Since when does a beat cop have direct access to the prosecutor? I don't believe a word he said. And again, this is also the same department that tried to file charges against me for saying racial epithets. The same department. But actually, the original report was me reporting stalking. And then they changed it. Oh, yeah, I forgot. They changed it from racial epithets to misreporting a crime. Oh, you said they were stalking you, but they're not. So, I mean, what is going on here? Which one is it? Oh, you reported someone is stalking you, and that's not quite true. So you were guilty of a misdemeanor. No, which one? Which misdemeanor offense? Is it the racial intimidation, or is it the misreporting of a misdemeanor? Again, misreporting of a misdemeanor. It's not misdemeanor stalking. That's not true. It's just games, and we don't go around yelling racial epithet. I hate people like that. In the community we live in, we generally hear it within the community enough racial epithets about people. Even me. Let's see, what's that guy called me? White cracker ASS, then the N-word. I believe that's what he called me. Or in my complex where we've had a lot of racism, a lot of racial targeting. And the complex doesn't do anything about it. The housing agency doesn't do anything. The township police doesn't do anything, except that they'll process a misdemeanor against me. The garbage thrown at our door, the feces thrown at our window up in the patio. This is destroying public property, actually private property, correction. But they don't do anything. This costs the housing complex money. And in our complex, I see a ton of people like this, destroying the property of renters who are white or Hispanic, or they're getting kicked out, only white or Hispanic. And the African American people that I've seen get kicked out of here, people that are of African American descent, the ones that I've seen get kicked out is unwarranted. They got big families, they have children. They're quiet people that don't want to get involved in drama. So why are they being evicted? What, either get involved in this racial stuff or you're out? These are the good members of the African American community that remember the dream is for everyone. This doesn't matter. The dream does. So this is the same department that refuses to even file a report, and he has access to the prosecutor. How many beat cops? Mind you, he's a beat cop. He's a patrolman. There's no rank, nothing. Have access to a county prosecutor's office so easily. Generally, it's by subpoena. Yeah, got to come testify. You'll be paid. Just wear a uniform. So, in the end, we lose out. Those people are title jumping. How many other people, are being hurt by this? Finding out, oh, what, that car's still on there? What about worst case scenario? A car is resold. Oh, yeah, finding out the guy's driving around the car with a temporary title. I sold it. Why? Oh, you sold it. Well, so what? Well, actually, I got the title from that shop over there, or that guy over there, or that dealership. Yeah, we both signed it. We haven't sent it in yet. And you sold the vehicle? Yeah, so what? Whoops. That victim's driving around with a vehicle they can never possibly title. So in the end, they're being set up to break the law. is wrong. And as a business owner, my business is not operating, but I do have two businesses. One of them is it's a fully licensed LLC. Business owners, you finish stuff. You take care of your clients. You have a commitment to the community and the community to you. And you finish what you start. You don't fail to file paperwork because you're worried about, oh, yeah, there's going to be lots of fees. In my case, if it was done properly, there's no cost to junk a vehicle in the state of Michigan. I tell them, oh, we can do this online, but it's going to be some cost to get this right. Nah, we have a bill of sale and a copy of the title. We're not going to take this any further. But yet they seem to know everything about the person who bought it and crushed it. It just doesn't make sense to me. Once again, my family's set up to fail. But I'm sure we're not the only people who are set up to fail. I'm sure. And last time I checked, I don't know the website anymore, but there was a website that tracks Saab vehicles. I just can't remember the name of the darn site. But according to this website, the engine or many pieces of the engine, or perhaps maybe just the block, was removed from my Saab and it was put in another Saab, same make, same model. I forgot the website. It was some kind of tracking website. So evidently a serial number somewhere was scanned or put in a computer and it caused a chain reaction. So, significant parts of my Saab have been taken out for this to cause this, this event that, I found out that I seem to recall that it was the whole engine was pulled and put in another Saab, same make, same model, same year. Actually, I think pretty much interchangeable up to like 2009. A lot of the parts are similar or the same for multiple years. It was GM and Saab were in a partnership 2004 or 2005 through like 2011 or 12, somewhere around there. It was like 5, 6, 7 years. But anyway, so my family is set up once again. And the people of the state are happy because that hearings coordinator, boy, she really dug in BAM and BEM to Bridges Eligibility Manual and Bridges Management, or Bridges Account Management. BAM and BEM, I think, is the two manuals. I forget. She really did her homework to dig everything she could. And then she violated my civil rights by accessing my Secretary of State profile, which she didn't have authority to do that. This isn't a dictatorship or a fascist state. People need to sign waivers to access outside agency information. But she did it anyway. This was her, not my worker or my ex-worker. This was the hearings coordinator. She dug everything she possibly could to make sure I got denied. Now, I don't have to name names, but if people dig enough, they're going to find out who these people are. And I've talked about with the program manager several times. He's not going to intervene at all in anything. He said, I'd like to meet you. I'm not here to make a friend. I'm here to take care of my family. I want to get off their program. But it seems somebody's trying their best to make sure we never do. All the programs that have been denied, all the programs that not been properly streamlined to know about hours and commitments and this and that, nothing. Programs that have been kept from me, like the fact that I could have gotten more help to fix the Saab instead of junking it. I talked to my worker before it was junked. He didn't say a word. JB. So this is one of the final posts because, I don't think that this, I'm glad I helped people for those pants. But, apparently I'm not making the impact that I thought, had a dream that all the things we experienced here someday we would present them to a legislature. Maybe it's just a dream. Maybe we're not really helping anybody. And again, all the crimes that have happened to me, even the assault. Look at my face now. My face is crooked. Then you add everything that I got from the Middle East. But I don't have medical care, just barely enough to keep me from dying. I'm not a negative person. I'm pragmatic. But when people are organizing against you, you'd be a fool not to notice it. And I'm not a paranoid person either. You have to be a fool to not notice when patterns and people seem to be joined. And it's always to your deficit. Sometimes parents don't find justice. Sometimes the children or grandchildren do. Maybe this is our case. But at least my brother and my sister-in-law, if anything happens to me, they'll be happy. They're the only ones left to take my daughter. But I still worry about my two in the Philippines. My oldest, who's supposed to be starting college here in the States, but people made sure that never happened, including people from MDHHS. They've been notified multiple times of my situation. I can't assume she can't assume her citizenship, the situation we're in. Multiple people there know. They don't care. They don't care about the situation. They don't care when workers destabilize us. They don't care when workers retaliate. They don't care. MDHHS, like I said in my last voicemail to a program manager in Saginaw, I said they've given us scraps to eat while we're being beaten. We're treated no better than a slave. We just don't have chains. Or then again, do we? All of our devices that are hacked. The past 2 complexes we've lived, workers know some of our neighbors. We've seen them on the bus, the workers on the bus. We've seen one worker with his wife came inside my complex twice, passing my daughter and I. He thought I didn't recognize his voice. I do. And the fact he changed his number and went down to Detroit, yeah, I recognize all of that. Apparently he transferred. But yet still comes up here for I don't know what, unless it's a fake identity. This is why this will be one of the last videos. Nobody wants to investigate what's happening in Saginaw. The amount of government workers and municipal, state, and federal employees in this county. I mean, even in Bay, I've experienced it in a couple places in Bay County, but they were private, not government. People refusing to show identification, refusing to identify coworkers. But especially bad in Saginaw County. This is a threat to national security. Oh, it's no big deal. They just work at the water department. Yeah. There's a utility. People walking around without an ID. Oh, yeah, that person just works at Walmart. Who cares if they change smocks with people? Because the smock has somebody's ID badge on it. And if somebody's walking around the back where there's meat and dairy and tampering with it, a lot of people can get sick. Oh, yeah, they're just walking around the, police department cleaning up cars and stuff, and they drive them to the car wash to clean them up. That's a non-police officer driving a police cruiser. Should not also be happening. I've seen it happen more than once. Matter of fact, I believe in Buena Vista, I believe that some of these people are taking cruisers out because the police officer I saw today, that's not a police uniform. And the shirt's never been worn. Never met a police officer in a small police department that had all brand new shirts. Or for that matter, a police officer with work pants from like Walmart or Myers. Those type of work pants. It's like a kind of flannel denim kind of mixture, but they obviously didn't fit him. And those aren't law enforcement pants either. You can't run in them. They would rip. And the badge looked like something out of a, mail order. No number on it, nothing. Real cops have real badge numbers. They have real, matter of fact, real cops have a real badge number plus a patrol car number assigned to them. In addition to their weapon assigned to them. Backup it's theirs. Backup weapon is always theirs. It doesn't belong to the department. So, doesn't make sense. And when somebody's body cam I can buy off Walmart, probably not a cop. So the question is, why are there fake cops around Saginaw County and Homeland Security's not acting on it? And some of these people pretending to be cops are sitting at the stupid simulator that runs off the towers. I know without a doubt today, the guy I talked to was present when I talked to the person who was on the simulator. Without a doubt, I know. And it was a simulator. At least this time they admitted they weren't a police officer. Oh no, I'm a 911 dispatcher. Well, 911 dispatchers, you can't just walk in off the street. Unless, of course, this is more Morley nonsense. Morley's going to spin off a company. Yeah, this is a 911 dispatch company. I worked at Morley. They have so many companies, they can't even keep track. Employees will go spin something off. And, there's nothing wrong with having a lot of companies under your name. The problem is you don't background check the people working for you. Some of these people are bad people. Morley group of companies, you got labs. You have psychologists and social work offices. You have psychiatrists. You have behavioral evaluators. Let's see what else you have. You have automotive testing companies. You have mail order and package delivery companies. You have, the list goes on. There's a lot of daughter companies from Morley group of companies. And some of these people who run these and work at these companies, they're bad people. Oh, yeah, company doing mail order biological testing, contractor for the VA. Another Morley group of company. Morley group of company. And nobody will identify themselves. None of them. Oh, can't forget Vet Connect. Another breakaway company they formed because it has veterans. So they formed their own company that's owned by a veteran, and it does back office processing for the VA. They answer the phone. But in my experience, only at this VA. You call other VAs, you get the VA directly. Which is why here at Saginaw VA, you can't talk to your provider. Never. If you're lucky, you'll get their nurse, which is an LPN who doesn't have that much medical knowledge, but in my experience, they'll pretend like they do. LPNs, they have less than a year program of study. They don't have clinicals. Their anatomy and physiology is limited. Their biochemistry is nil. There is nothing. They don't study biochem or organic. Nothing. So these are the people that are intermediating between you and your doctor. Oh, they don't study pathology. Nothing. Kind of problematic when you're discussing issues, medical issues, diseases, symptoms. Kind of difficult when somebody doesn't have a background in studying them. That's the VA. at least here in Saginaw County. And you will not talk to your provider. Like I said, if you're lucky, you'll get their LPN. Well, in my experience, some of them are rather nasty, bad attitude, don't like men, are aggressive, and will make drama to make a veteran look bad if they don't get their way. Don't move to Saginaw, folks, until they clean up their act. And Homeland Security, for people like me who've been victimized, our life ruined, our children, we don't know what's going to happen to them because we have so few paths forward to get our life better. No parent wants their child to experience that, or they can't go out and play because their neighbors may bully them because of their race or their religion. And then when you report it, you got cops who refuse to show ID. You go to a courthouse. Again, nobody will show ID. And a matter of fact, if you want to serve them, well, you better do it the proper way, which means it goes to a mail room like NDHHS, and they can deny they received it. Where are you, Homeland Security? Where are you?